I guess I deserve this. Posted by itskarmababy123. If you like these stories and want to see more, please like and subscribe. When I was younger, I had FWB with a few married women, most with children. They had different reasons, but most you have seen written here. I didn't want a long-term relationship. I just gave what they were looking for. Of course, the women kept it secret from their husbands. Many used the same means to stay under the radar, some even extreme measures. Most ended because they realized they wanted to stay in their marriages. Some did get divorced. The last married woman I was with had a burner phone. We met when the husband was out of town, and the kids were in school or away for a few hours. They had a dead bedroom. She craved intimacy. Sometimes we just cuddled, no sex. I would pull into their garage. I never stayed more than a couple of hours. Never wore cologne. I don't smoke or do weed. We always cleaned up dishes if we ate or drank. She also wanted to fix her marriage after marriage counseling and am working on the marriage. A few years went by. I had a few short relationships until 10 years ago. I met the one. She was everything I could ever hope for. We fell in love. We have been married for 8 years now. We have 2 kids, twins 7 years old. I am in my 40s, my wife is in her late 30s. Everything was great until 2020. I lost my job. The wife started working from home. The kids were remote learning. We were on top of each other all the time. We do not have a big house. Lots of petty arguments. Sex falls off. I finally got a new job end of 2020. I fell into it as the Great Resignation in the country took place. Although the company is doing well, they cannot find enough help. I am putting in ridiculous hours to keep my head above water. Of course, the home life suffered. Finally, end of the year, I told my boss no more. I needed to spend time with the family. I have been home more, and I am engaged with the kids. I work around the house, and I cook dinner most nights. However, I have lost connection with my wife. I have tried attempting dates, small gifts, flowers. She is accepting, but the intimacy is gone. I came home the other day, and it had been snowing. The kids were playing in the snow. They shoveled the drive as good as young kids could. I thought that I would need to get out there to shovel and play a little bit too. As the garage door opens, there are wet tire tracks on my side of the garage. The wife's car is on the other side, clean and dry. I had got both cars washed on the weekend. I had flashbacks to my younger days of being with married women. I asked my wife if she went out to the store. She is still working from home. She looks at me and says with a snark, "I have been working all day." I raised my hands in surrender and went to get changed. While shoveling the snow, I could not get the thought out of my mind about the tire tracks. That night, I checked our phone bill for numbers I didn't recognize. None. Then I checked the 2 months previously. There it was. A number with about 300 texts, so I checked the next month's, the number does not appear. That night, I went through my wife's office. I found another phone. It was locked. And now for the top comments. What comes around goes around. I hope you can start the conversation the way you did here. Honest about what you did, and you understand why. Add an intimacy, with small not sex acts. Replace the needs she has with yourself. Hide a couple of voice-activated recorders around where she might talk, where they might make out and have sex. Realize that unless you want to be a bundle of insecurities and miserable while living in a crap relationship, your marriage is likely over. And now for our next story. Seeing other woman because wife has no interest in sex. Posted by Pumped Up Moses. Married, going on 12 years, M46, F44. I've known my wife for about 20 years. We dated off and on before we got married. She used to be a fun person. She was always goofy, simply enjoyed being a fun person, and had a good sense of humor. Everything changed once she started to advance at her job and our 2 kids. That good sense of humor started to decline. At least with me. I've heard her laugh and be goofy on the phone with her friends. Then she started to be a lot more dedicated to the church. I'm not dedicated, and I never hid that, and I've even told her directly that my commitment to the church is not the same as hers. So it's not like it's a total surprise to her. After the kids were born, sex between us became more of a chore for her, and it got to the point where she wasn't in the mood. I would text her, lay in bed with her, touch her, try to be playful to initiate sex, but nothing worked. I finally asked if she was interested in sex at all at this point. She replied with no. Since she gave me her response of no, I started to sleep in the guest bedroom. What's the point of sleeping in the same bed as your spouse if she's not even interested in sex? I think I'm a year 3 and sleeping in the guest bedroom. As time went on, I started a class last summer, which I enjoyed. Around September/October, a new person joined the class, and we hit it off right away. Let's call her Linda for the story. Most of our meets were during our 1-hour class, and that's it. Later, we would meet for lunch, and then we would go our separate ways. It's December now, and our class had an outing at a restaurant. Linda and I attended. We both drove in separate cars. At the end of our class outing, we stayed behind and had more drinks, and as time went on, we started to get a bit touchy-feely with each other. We stayed in the parking lot a bit longer to sober up, but that gave us a chance to be a lot more touchy-feely and kissing. Well, we ended up at her place and in her bed in our birthday suits. There was a lot of foreplay, but it didn't go all the way. Since then, we've stayed in touch via text. We see each other in class. Fast forward to last weekend. We met up at a bar, and we ended up back at her place again, and things did go all the way. I woke up around 2:30 a.m., and I went home and went to bed in the guest bedroom as I always do. The interaction I've had with and the moments I've had with Linda has been a lot more than what I've had with my wife for the last 3 to 5 years, which I think is very sad. This is the story of my cheating, but at the same time, and I'm not trying to rationalize this, my wife has cheated me out of a healthy sexual relationship with her. To be fair, when married, it's supposed to be sex with each other. This is when married couples should be screwing as much as possible until both can't go on. This is my story. I'm ready for your comments. And now for the top comments. Maybe there is a reason your wife acts differently towards you. You said she's still fun and goofy with others. Are you doing your share of house chores and cooking? Are you doing your part raising your children? If not, maybe she's exhausted. Doing those things plus working is hard. Marriage isn't always "this is what I need from you," it is also asking "what can I do for you?" I feel like you should have communicated this to her years ago. Also, I'm going to be 100% honest. You sound like an when you say crap like, "What's the point of sleeping in the same bed as your spouse if she's not interested in sex?" Love, companionship, good times, laughter, the list goes on. You are responsible for your own marriage. You can't just check out when you don't get your way. This post sounds like you are trying to justify your infidelity and blame your wife for your crappy marriage. You should have communicated, got counseling, made efforts to understand her love language, etc. My first thought as a woman is, what did you do to make her uninterested? Women respond to men who are faithful, trustworthy, responsible, act loving, compliment. Did you do all of those things? There is no faster way to make a woman turn off than to be untrustworthy. If that isn't the case, you probably need to move on. I agree that your marriage means fulfilling your spouse's needs. I'm sorry, but did you marry your wife just for sex? Do you even appreciate your wife just to appreciate her or to get sex from her? Why bother to sleep in the same bed if she won't have sex with you? She is your wife, your partner. She is the mother of your children, for frack's sake. Being in a relationship with someone means more than just having sex with them. What effort do you put into your wife besides trying to have sex? Maybe if you put more interest into your wife's interests and her actual personal needs, she'd want to frack you. And now for our next story. Wife talking to someone she used to like. Posted by Quintalk555. My wife is chatting with this guy she used to like when we were dating. The talk seems innocent, but he is named under a different name. Should I confront her? Or let it go? It seems he is always starting the conversations. And now for the top comments. Before confronting, gather as much evidence as possible, including everything on this other guy. Print out everything, including a picture of the guy. Have a sit down and start asking questions, starting with how she views you and the marriage. Is she happy? Any problems? Then ask you the guy is using the name she has him under in her phone. Whether she lies or not, keep drilling down, revealing your evidence piece by piece. Most cheaters will only admit to what you know or think you know, then minimize as much as possible. Look up gaslighting, trickle truth, and Darvo. Learn how to read body language to reveal clues of lying. Anyway, you need to deal with this head on. Also, find out if this guy has info and her contact info so you can let him know as soon as you are done with confronting your wife. Good luck! Your wife is a cheating bum hoe, don't put any of the blame on the dude. She's supposed to be loyal to you. Time to divorce her bum. Confronting that only lets her know that she has to do a better job at hiding the fact that she's a low-life cheating bum who is betraying you and the marriage that you supposedly have. This is a classic example of secrecy over privacy. She is deliberately keeping this conversation secret. That is a major red flag and inappropriate behavior in a committed relationship. You should confront your wife. You both need to have a discussion on boundaries. What's your say on this? Do you have a similar story? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.